The recording has been started. Please know that it is highly recommended that we keep our videos on. It keeps the facilitator very, very motivated throughout the session. It doesn't feel like we are talking to a wall. And please feel free to unmute while you want to share something during any conversation or discussion. This session is getting recorded, which means it will be up to you if you want to keep your videos on, but then it is up to you. Yeah. Before we get started with today's session, I would like to share some learning opportunities which are lined up over the next few weeks. To start with, first on 30th of June from 3 to 5 p.m., we will be hosting Once Upon a Leader, one of our most loved and highly rated workshops. This workshop invites us to reflect on that very question through a powerful story of Indian mythology. We explore Hanuman's journey when Lord Ram sends him to Patal Lok in search of a ring that he was wearing. And of course, we are ready to find deeper leadership lessons hidden within this story. It is a reflective, extremely thought provoking session filled with meaningful conversations, a lot of personal insights, and practical leadership takeaway. Uh, my colleague will send the link to this session in the chat. You can find it there and register. Next, on 1st of July at 6:30 p.m., we have a special session for those of you who are a part of the coaching community or are considering pursuing coaching credentials. We'll be walking through the latest updates from the ICF, including mentor coaching qualifications, what's changing in the performance evaluations, and implications for credential applicants. If any of these topics are relevant to you, we would love to see you during this discussion. Link is in the chat. By the way, did you know that a 10-year McKinsey study found that leaders who tie their self-worth with performance matrices were significantly more likely to experience burnout? Ask me why. It's because of constant anxiety of maintaining their identity to stay in that place. So, on 2nd of July at 3 p.m., Grow with Satori, in collaboration with the Shape of Work community, presents the session Courses to Capability, Designing Structured Professional Growth. This session will be facilitated by our own Asavri. In a world where the information is overflowing, the learning opportunities are abundant, the challenge is no longer the access. And we all know that. It's knowing what to learn, when to learn it, and why it will matter to us. So this workshop is designed to help you move beyond simply collecting the courses and credentials. Link to this workshop and for the registration is in the chat. Now coming to today's session. It's a pleasure to introduce my fellow facilitator, Aakansha Patel. Aakansha has spent last 10 years working across HR, learning development, and education. Driven by her passion for helping people learn, grow, and realize their potential, her work focuses on designing meaningful learning experiences and creating the environments where individuals and teams can thrive. She is particularly interested in understanding how people learn and what enables lasting behavioral change. Does that sound interesting to all of us too? Yeah. Outside of work, she is a board game enthusiast and a language lover. She speaks 5 languages as on today and enjoys exploring new ones whenever she gets an opportunity. With that, I am delighted to hand over this session to you, Aakansha. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Ishita. Thank you for such a lovely introduction. I am very excited and happy to be a part of this. This is the first time that I'm hosting this LIY session. I've always been a participant here, and it's always a pleasure. So, this is the first time I'll be hosting this session. And the book that we are going to discuss today is Crucial Conversations. Anyone who's read the book? You can
raise hand because that's not me.
No.
No, no problem.
Not
Okay, just a heads up, I have not completed the book. I have read quite a bit of it, but have not had the opportunity to complete. I think I'm left with around 3 chapters or so. So whatever is here is my interpretation and my, what I would understand from the book. It's a highly acclaimed book and definitely a gold mine, worth a read for everybody. So before we begin, the book is called Crucial Conversation Tools for Talking When Stakes Are High. And it is authored by 4 authors. And they are OD specialists, all of them. And they talk about different kind of tools and techniques that we can use when the conversations are very crucial. Have you ever been a part of a conversation which either completely got blown up out of proportion, or where you've been in a situation where you don't know what to say? Anybody been in a situation like this?
Yeah, multiple times.
Multiple times? Same here. Multiple times. So today we are going to talk about it, and I'm hoping that by the end of this session, with all the discussions that we have, we will move at least a step closer towards not blowing it, out of proportion, and being able to manage the conversations better. So before we begin, I would like to test the waters. You see a question on the screen and a QR code. You need to scan the QR code and complete the sentence. When a conversation gets heated, my immediate instinct is to. It can be anything. So please feel free to write what does it take for you to be in a conversation like this. Pause. Okay. Nice. Step back and notice. Wonderful. Stay calm and listen first. Wow. Raise the voice. Whoever that is, +1 from my end. Raise the voice. That's +1 from my end. Stop the okay and take a break and come back for the discussion and listen. Wow, great. I think most of the people are already applying whatever is there in the book without even reading it. Sometimes it's also a high pace of speech. Very true, very true. Pause and respond. Yes, definitely. We should definitely pause and respond when a conversation gets heated. So I think most of you have given me responses. Dark water. Oh my God. Yeah, definitely. So before, I hope by the end of this session, and during this session rather, I get a lot of communication with all of you. You all discuss openly. There are no, you are coming with an open mind and communicating and giving your actual thoughts in this session. So When we start, I want you to think about a conversation that you've had or you are thinking of having. And it's a conversation that you are dreading for some reason. I want you to take a moment and think about that conversation. Think about these three things that I'm going to ask. What is the conversation? Why haven't you had it? Or if you have had that conversation, why did you delay that conversation? And lastly, what might happen if you do the conversation or continue avoiding it? If you're thinking about a conversation that has happened in the past, what was it that was stopping you from having that conversation? Why were you avoiding it? You don't need to tell me the specifics. I would I would give you 30 seconds to think about that conversation. And then I would invite you to please come and share. You don't need to give me the specifics. Yes, yes, Ishita, please.
Yeah, there's one conversation that is constantly replaying in my head. Um, I could figure out there are three things that is stopping me from having that conversation sooner, or at least finding a date when to have it. First is I don't know how to put this up, uh, keeping it respectful, yes, yet maintaining the need or keeping the need in place that I have for this conversation. The second one is the fear of unknown. I hate that fear, but yeah, that is there. I don't know what will happen once I have that conversation. How will it land to the other person? And the third thing that I can feel is thinking about that discussion. Um, since the stakes are a little high, and yeah, it is making me feel uncomfortable. Feels like I have to put a lot of energy to start that discussion, also to initiate the first step, to block the calendar too. So that is what is really stopping me from having it anytime sooner.
Thank you so much for sharing, Ishita. Anybody else who'd like to share? And this conversation can be anything. It can be with a colleague, it can be with your manager, even your parents or your spouse, and for the matter, even your house help. You know, it may feel like house help, but yes, Shweta, please.
So I can say that it's somewhere a silly, or we can say that, but yes, where I'm working right now, it's been 1 year.
Mhm.
And I do have a colleague in the same department, and there's a lot of gossips happen. And been earlier also, I have confronted, to check that, if they have some issues because they have been into the same organization, but I was new. And I joined as assistant manager, they work as executive and lead level. So, and I'm a younger than them.
Mm-hmm.
There's somewhere a conflict, sometimes people feel uncomfortable or, insecure, whatever it is. So recently, again, I got to know something because my colleague always keep an eye on my system. Whatever I talk about my personal thing, whether it's an official thing with any of the employee as well. So I got to know that somebody is asking about my personal life. Then yesterday only, the lady was talking about me. I get the conversation because now I know what she's talking about. So I was just laughing. The point is, first, what is the conversation? It's majorly about the gossip involves my team member, which I don't like it. Second, why I don't want that to be, avoid the conflict because the person will not accept it. I know. Third, what would be happening if that would be clear? That would give me more comfort zone to discuss anything with them. Setting a boundaries and improving the trust within the team. But this happened second time, so now I'm taking a step back rather than to be going and discussing the same, because obviously I know they will say no. But
Mm.
bothers you when you are working with the same team and give me a hesitation to share if I'm facing something or any of the challenges, because as a team into HR and you are discussing same with the floor people, those are junior to you and they are kind of a employee of yours. Doesn't make sense. So that is the
So,
thing.
so thank you so much for opening up, Shweta. Really, kudos to you. And I hope by the end of today's discussion, you can take something, and I'm really hoping that will help you, solve the problem that you're currently facing. It's
Thank
never
you.
fun to be, yeah, thank you so much. It's never fun to be in situations like this. Definitely isn't. So I really hope that this session helps you and all the participants who are here can provide some insight on how, you can lead this conversation. So, what's a crucial conversation? Any thoughts on what a crucial conversation counts as?
Any conversations that happen in an uncomfortable zone.
Thank you, Srividya. Any conversation that happens in an uncomfortable zone. So, what makes it uncomfortable?
The response.
The response, yes, definitely. The response,
I think
The
it's
reaction.
yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying the reaction of the opposite person also
the
matters.
reaction of the opposite person. So true. Yes, the reaction of the opposite person. Asavri, please.
I think also assumptions about the reactions add more stakes to the conversation than what it actually is.
Yes,
That
yes,
would
the
be my.
stakes of the conversation. So well put, Asavri. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts? So the authors say that a crucial conversation has three very important aspects to it. The first being opposing opinions. If me and my colleague, or anybody else for that matter, if we have opposing opinions, that is the first point of conflict, if I can put it that way. If there isn't any opposing opinion, then it's not a crucial conversation. It's just a normal discussion that can take place. But is that the only thing? No. I want to have Chinese, and let's say my family member wants to have Indian for dinner. We have opposing opinions on what the dinner should be, but that's necessarily not a crucial conversation. So, next becomes when strong emotions get attached to this opposing opinions, as Sri Vidya said, the uncomfortable situation that we are in. And then the last one, when the stakes are extremely high, as Asavri mentioned, when the stakes are high. I am dreading a conversation with my manager. We have a deadline that is discussed, but I don't see eye to eye with him on that deadline. And that is what makes this conversation crucial because he strongly feels towards the deadline that it is achievable, whereas I don't. And I need to have this conversation with him. I have probably rehearsed it in my head many times before going for the conversation. I think this is something I do it, or probably many people do it. We have this, role playing going in our head that this is what I'm going to say, and this is the kind of response that I'm going to get, and then this is what I'm going to say next, so on and so forth. We do this. But when the moment comes, we forget about all that. And we immediately come to two kinds of responses, either the fight mode or the flight mode. Have any of you faced a situation like this? Either you become defensive or you become silent.
Depends on the situation as well.
Definitely depends on the situation.
Yeah,
And
plus one.
plus one, yeah, definitely. So the authors say that the human brain from prehistoric time is trained to take either the fight or the flight mode. When our ancestors, were cavemen and there is a tiger that they are facing, their only way to survive is either fight the tiger or run for their lives. That's their only mode of survival. which is where the amygdala part of the brain creates that rush that either you need to fight for your life or you need to flight for your life. When we are in a crucial conversation, our brain goes back to that prehistoric time and views the manager as the tiger. They view the manager as a tiger here and they think, I either need to fight the manager or I need to run away from this situation. So by run away, you literally can't run away. So you will keep quiet and be like, it's okay. You can say whatever you want, and I'll be quiet for a while. Our prefrontal cortex at this point of time stops working. The prefrontal cortex, this part of the brain, is which develops the logical thinking. So that stops working. Can you take a guess on what happens biologically when you are in a situation like this? What happens biologically? What are you doing?
Muscles contract,
Muscles contract, yes.
the body temperature rises.
The body temperature rises. So right, the body temperature rises. Any reason why the body temperature is rising?
I think there's too much blood flowing to the brain at the same time.
Too much blood flow into the brain at the same time. So it's the adrenaline rush, also known in the book as amygdala hijack. So the amygdala hijacks the brain and you only start thinking from there. Does this resonate with anyone?
Certainly me. I remember my time, my school days, especially the day when it was parents teacher meeting. I still remember the whole time I'll be fine pretending to be okay. But at night, my calf muscles would pain because the body has been stiff for such a long time. And
Yes,
I still remember it used to specially happen on those days because of the level of stress I had. What will teacher say?
so true. Thank you. We'll also discuss about certain physical signs that we see in ourselves and also in the other person. We'll also discuss some of these signs as we move ahead. Thank you so much, Ishita. So let's talk about silence. What is silence? Silence is basically when you, with conscious thought, withhold the information. You want to say something to your manager or your spouse for that matter, or your in laws or your parents, anybody. You want to say something, but you don't do that in hope that this is going to maintain the peace or the harmony. So you don't do that. Now, that's one way of being silent, which is the very obvious way of being silent. But there are other ways of being silent as well. That's masking. The first is masking. Masking your difference of opinion by saying something, oh, yeah, sure, that's a great idea. Definitely. Masking it through sarcasm. The second is avoiding. You completely avoid the conversation. You don't want to address the elephant in the room. You talk about anything and everything but that particular topic. You both know that this is something that's there between us, but you don't want to address it. And last is the withdrawing part. Not possible many times in a, in a setup, workplace setup, but many times I have seen this during home environments where you physically withdraw from the conversation. You're having a discussion, it gets heated, and one of the parties just leaves the room. Or, even for that matter, while exiting the room, bangs the door to express their displeasure. Has anyone noticed any of these at home, at workplace?
I used to bang lot of doors.
Thank you, Srividya. Thank you for being so open. anyone else, any type of
Hmm.
silence. Yes, Rizwana.
Even me, I when I'm not happy, when I want to show my frustration, I do bang the door, or sometimes whatever is in my hand, it is on the bed or something like that. I do that too.
Yeah. Um, Guilty. Uh, I used to do that a lot until I read about microaggressions and what it do to people. Something changed after I read about it, wrote about it, and from that time, whenever there is a feeling of banging a door or keeping the cup like this on the table or doing something like that, something has changed after reading a lot of things and writing a lot, publishing a lot of things about microaggressions. I also have a question on this.
Sure.
Where do we fit in? So I remember a lot while I was growing. There was my family's favorite statement was stay quiet when elders are telling you something, or don't speak over them. Where do we can we fit that here by any chance? That is not a silence or withdrawal, but then a way to silence any other person just because of a invalid, non-backed up information that you are carrying for generations. Where we can fit it, or we can even fit it here.
So for me, yes, Shweta, please.
Yes, according to me, we can, because sometimes it happens that we are, listening something, whether it's in official, whether it's in personal life. Sometimes we are silent because we don't know what to do, what to say. Sometimes
Hmm.
we, but with the respect or with some of the, things which we have in mind, we don't want it to drag that topic, so we take a pause or we keep ourselves silent. Whether we have an answer for that as well, or whether we are correct, whether we are wrong, whatever it is, but we sometimes prefer to be go on silent mode. Though that I can
Mhm.
say as my experience.
Yes. Thank you,
Hmm.
Shweta. Yes, Asabri, please.
And I think sometimes, like what Ishita and Shweta they were saying, I think what is also happening is we are being conditioned to respond in this way, and that is how it will fit in this bucket. Probably we are not choosing to, but subconsciously we have been taught to.
Yes.
So that's how it.
Subconsciously, very right. Subconsciously, we have been taught that please avoid this. Don't ask. So it falls under avoiding. I hope it answers your question, Ishita. So we are trying to avoid the conversation. We are being taught that please keep your thoughts to yourself. Avoid the conversation as much as possible. Don't make the other person feel uncomfortable. You're doing this or you're saying this and it's making me feel uncomfortable.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So this is one side of the coin. The second side of the coin is where I identify myself as, is the violence side, where you speak so much and you speak so loud that you hijack the entire conversation. You don't want the other person to even have that space to say anything. You start aggressively giving out information. This happened, and then so on and so forth. This is what I did, and this is what I feel is the best thing to do. Completely start speaking fast. I remember many of us even wrote this. Start speaking fast, a lot of words coming out. The rate of speed of word is very high, things like that. That's one form of violence. And when we talk about violence here, we are not in prehistoric times, so it's not the physical violence, it's usually the verbal violence. We are using our words as the daggers here, and we are saying things. Other common forms of violence, controlling. You cut, like I said, you cut the other person, speak louder, dominate them. Labeling. You dismiss their idea completely by calling it ridiculous. A teammate or a colleague has said something and has given their opinion that this is what I think should be done. and somebody has just dismissed it by saying, oh, it's a very old fashioned idea. I don't think you've done thorough research. It'll not work out. You've dismissed the idea completely by labeling it ridiculous, old fashioned, anything. And lastly, by attacking, which personally I feel is the worst thing to do, about making it personal. Instead of calling the idea ridiculous or old fashioned by saying that you're too young to understand this, or probably you don't have enough experience to, have a say at the table, something like that. Any thoughts on this? Yes, Shweta, please.
So yes, in terms of the first statement, said that once any of the situation comes up, our mind is not at the right way. We are just coming to the defensive mode. We start saying whatever we have in our mind, but later on we analyze that whatever we have said doesn't make sense, even though sometimes. So that again, heat of the moment, when you are not at the moment where you are accepting the decision, again goes with both the cases, professional, personally. So you are coming into that defensive mode for yourself, that no, you are right. Whatever the opposite person is saying or doing was incorrect, or because you are not able to accept it.
Very true.
One side of a coin. Second, we are wrong, but we don't want you to accept our mistake. So the both the cases will come up in that way. Controlling, yes, when somebody is wrong, they start controlling in the way that we can say that pretending that what all they have done for us, so that the person will be behaving that yes, the person is correct or doing that. Attacking is the part, I agree. So whenever I got angry earlier, when I was not that, we can say, thinking or coming into the career life, so I was also throwing things. When I was having a fight with my mom, I threw things because I was not able to control my anger. Now I understand I need to be silent. I take a deep breath, go for a walk. That is the best solution I can get it, so that I can analyze what to say rather than to say anything, because you will found fool or dumb in some cases where you are saying anything about the situation, where you have zero idea about it sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. More power to you, Shweta. Such a nice thought to, take a break, go for a walk, and then come back.
That is the
Yes,
best.
Rishma. Yeah,
Otherwise,
please.
because you are not able to control it, so it's better you cry in front of else. Go do whatever, whether you want to shout, go for it, then come back and react.
Yeah. Yes, Rizwana, please.
So I have an experience in the same format that I had what Shweta has just shared. The
Mm-hmm.
initial phases of my career, when I was getting trained and all, I had my mentor who had actually moved me to a different client to handle something.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was one trainer who indirectly told to a group that whoever doesn't get trained well or are not performing well are usually assigned to that client because the low performers go into it. And it struck my mind in such a way that when you know there were some discussions or meeting coming up, and the mentor who I was assigned to initially told me that I wish you were part of the team. And then I immediately reacted to him in a loud voice and told, you were the one who moved me out as saying I'm a low performer. So, so you didn't want me in your team. Now you are saying you want me in my team. And I was very aggressive on the floor and I was very loud, and whole of the team was looking at me at the time. So then after a while, my mentor called me into a room and then he told me it's not the right thing. I don't know who has communicated to you this. The
Mm-hmm.
fact is, you were the top performers, and for this client, we needed really somebody strong to make this process stable. So that is why we wanted you to be there. So this whole of
Wow.
the context made me understand that never hear whatever is being told to you. Always analyze the
Yes.
things and then react to the things. Just blast it. Maybe I should have told him. I had this in my mind. Somebody has given me this feedback. Is it so? I must have gone back and asked him and to taken the feedback. That's when I realized, and now I make it a point that whenever something doesn't help feel comfortable with any of the topics or the feedbacks or the discussions, I go back openly, talk to the person face to face, and clarify. And that's how I have been handling my, frustrations, irritations, and if there is any negativity coming into my mind, I usually handle it that way.
Thank you so much, Rizwana. We'll ask you to share your story once more when we are a little ahead in the session.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful concept, so I would like this story to be related there. Yes, Ishita, please.
Yeah,
Mm.
I wanted to share a thought with Rizwana first.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, I feel it's always good to ask a direct question than to analyze, think, overthink, or sit with that feeling. Said that, I'm also guilty of overthinking. But yeah, um, take some courage, ask the direct question properly. It helps you calm down sooner. Secondly, around the point that you asked the question about Akansha, growing up in a house where uh, the definition of a good girl was a girl who speaks softly and slowly. My first feedback from my first job, my first boss or manager was, if you speak loud, the client will understand and hear you out. If you speak so softly, you're sounding low in confidence. And that feedback, probably that is not the time when I could understand it. I intentionally raised my voice. So the feedback that I received was, you if you speak little loudly, you will still not sound impolite. You will still sound very polite and soft, yet you will sound more confident. So speak loudly. That I could not understand at that point in time. So I just raised the volume of my voice. But later, as I grew up, changed jobs, industries, fields, I really understood what that meant. And I really appreciate that feedback because she gave me a tool what to do. She did not say, don't speak softly, don't do this, don't do that. She gave me a tool. You do this momentarily, everything will fall in place. You will not sound very offensive or direct. So, yeah, I wanted to share that experience.
Thank you so much, Ishita. Thanks a lot. So, from all these things that we just heard, both silence and violence stem from some root cause. Could anyone think of what this cause could be? Why does this silence or violence turn up? Flight or fight, whatever we want to call it. Why does this turn up?
Fear.
Fear, yes. So, when do we fear something?
When things are not in our control.
When things are not in our control, yes.
Yeah, labeling that control word, um, fear of losing the authority,
Fear of
fear
losing
of
authority,
not
yes.
being able to be in a answerable state.
Hmm. Anybody, any other thoughts on where this can, what can be the root cause for this? Fear of losing authority, control, not wanting to be answerable. What is it that we are feeling at that point of time when we feel all these other things?
Sometimes when the opposite person uses certain words that will trigger our, emotions, that might
Definitely.
also lead to whether we go silent or violent.
Mm-hmm.
Could
Yes,
it
Shweta.
also
Yes.
Sometimes it's a fear of judgment as well.
Fear of judgment. Yeah. So right. Yes, Asavri.
Yeah, I was also going to say that fear of judgment. Are we thinking about our credibility, our status at that point in time? Is the fear stemming from how will we be perceived?
So, with all this that we've heard, can I bracket it or bucket it into saying that we are feeling unsafe? We are
Yes.
fearing for our safety. It could be any safety. It can be, being judged, being feared of losing control. We are lacking safety here. And that is what our prehistoric forefathers were also feeling. We were fearing safety. They were feeling safe. There, of course, it was more about life, fearing for their life. Here in modern workplace or modern lives, if I can put it that way, we are not only fearing that, we are fearing so many other things. But what it boils down to is that we are feeling unsafe. When we are feeling unsafe, if I can use the word or terminology, according to the book, it is lack of psychological safety. It's not physiological anymore. Nobody in your workplace is going to come and harm you physically in any way. I hope not, at least. That's my hope. That does not happen to anybody. But so that's my aim, that physiologically not, but psychological safety is what we are dealing with. Is it safe to say this? Thank you. So, when we are in a situation of psychological safety, and when we are facing this lack of safety, the authors say that in a situation like this, it is very important for both the parties to have a pool of shared meaning. There's a beautiful image that is there. As you can see, there are two individual parties. They are both diving into this pool of shared meaning. They both see whatever they can see, they tell a story to themselves, whatever they feel, and then they act. But this pool of shared safety, as you see, is around a bubble of safety. And above that bubble is the silence and violence. So, to overcome this, you need to have a psychological safety, or you need to have safety with the other person. The other person needs to feel that they are in a safe space to share their opinion, to share their thoughts, to share their fears, which I am very grateful to all of you right now, especially that you've been so vocal about everything that you feel. So, to develop that safety, it's so important, as it's only then that the two parties will be willing to share everything that they feel. And based on that itself, can we take the session, I mean, to take the decisions forward. Now, of course, sounds a lot of nice things to say that yes, there needs to be psychological safety, and we need to do this, we need to have, we need to get rid of silence and violence. But when you are dealing with psychological safety, it's not a small thing. It's a vast topic, if I can say it like that, as a facilitator trainer. It's something that many organizations lack, are aiming to achieve. So the book scratches the surface a little bit, and we'll talk about what this psychological safety will lead to. It's good to have open dialogue, but when you are having an open dialogue, it will require two things on the psychological safety end, because those are the pillars of it. Mutual purpose. Whenever we are in an open dialogue with anybody, it could be our colleague, family member, anyone, whenever there's an open dialogue happening, the first and foremost thing to do is define or decide on a mutual purpose. The other person needs to feel that you are here to help them solve their problem as well. And it is not only about you. They should feel that you are not out to get them, out to win them in any manner. It is about having a mutual purpose. No one is here to befool you. That is the first and foremost thing psychological safety depends on. The second pillar, which is even more important, is mutual respect. Here, I would like to bring in a personal opinion. I personally feel that mutual respect is far more important than mutual purpose. When you are in an open dialogue and you see that there is threat to your pool of sharing, you can go back and fix the mutual purpose. But if your mutual respect is broken, it is very difficult to go back and fix it. As soon as you break, respect, or disrespect the other person, or if you are being disrespected, the open dialogue and everything goes out of the window. It is now becoming trying to save your own dignity. This is what you made me feel, and now forget about solving the problems, forget about the mutual purpose. I am going to now nurse my ego, or the other person is going to nurse their ego. And it is all going to boil down to that. Any thoughts on this? Any conversation that comes to your mind where you have been in a situation where the mutual purpose is there, but something was said or something you felt which made you feel that you are not being respected?
It is usually on the lines of generalizing or labeling, the term that the book uses, that makes you feel you always do like that. You always cry on small things. You're very emotional. Generalizing a lot of things or labeling people, that breaks a lot of mutual, that takes you away from the end goal of solving a problem.
Very true. Anyone, any other thought on this? Moving on. The book says, and I'm quoting the book here, people don't get defensive because of what you're saying. They get defensive because of why they think you're saying it. I would like to take 30 seconds for people to think on it. We may think that what you said was wrong and that's why I'm getting defensive, but usually it's what is going in my mind which is making me defensive.
Again, I was same thing. Pair of judgment somewhere, yes.
Yes. Thanks, Shweta.
But then
Think about it. Yes,
the
please.
second point I can say is we start assuming that what the opposite person is, assuming about us, whether about our personality, whether about thoughts. So that kind of things comes in our mind. So assumptions and the pair of judgment.
Yes, very right. Very true.
I think it's also, sometimes overthinking about something, when you say something and the person overthinks that this person is, I think, thinking because of these reasons, and immediately making his assessments, he's, then going on a different node of discussion or a, thought process, which will usually turn out a conversation or a, discussion into a different node completely.
Yes, what we are assuming, and then we start responding accordingly, and it takes the entire conversation in another direction. Probably that was not the intent. So rightly put. Yes, Ishita.
um, Recollecting my recent incident that happened. So we have newly moved to the city, and um, it's a new school even for our little one. She's 5.5 as of date. Um, so she's going to this new school where some because of some miscommunication, something went wrong in the school side. She was boarded in a wrong bus, in a wrong school bus, and we were all hyper, and they were, after they found out which school bus is she in, and after my panic calls to the coordinator and the teacher and everyone, of course I can't find my daughter. Where is she went to the school in the bus and now I can't find it. It was a very difficult moment for me. We were all hyper because, and it was, I think, Wednesday or Thursday, and I dictated them I need the appointment with the principal on Saturday. I mean, no questions asked, in the morning time. When we went there, we were all set and we will thrash them out. Of course, how can they do such a big mistake? She is just 5, new to the city, teacher knows it. And we have specially put this in the admission form where they ask about if there is something new or there's something unique about the child that you want to share or something that they want to be more careful about with the child. We have spoken to the teacher. I have personally spoken to them. So we were all hyper with all that happening. And when we went to meet the principal, we went inside the cabin. We were trying to stay calm, as much as calm, me and my husband, as much as calm possible. And she started the conversation. It was a big blunder for us, and we owe it. She started the conversation like that, and it was all gone. That anger, that thing in our head, we will say this, we will say that. Where were you? Where was that person? We wanted a list of people who we believed might have caused this error. They were all not there, and we did not demand for them to ask a question. The person who goofed up, she came forward, spoke about it, that this is where I missed, and it's a big miss. I know it. It was so open conversation. We could not speak a word. We were like, okay, okay, then what are you going to do? Give me an action plan, and we are good, I guess. And that really, I can relate it to being in that psychological safe zone where the other person is openly accepting what went wrong, which made everything calm down. We just focused, our conversation that remained focused on the end goal. How will the teacher understand she has got into the right bus? Why is the app not working for us and all that stuff? So yeah, end goal and staying in the psychological space where the other person is not defensive and we don't have to be aggressive and it's an open dialogue really helps. Thank you. Thank you for hearing me
Thanks
out.
for the share, Ishita. It was very insightful. And we will definitely come back to what the principal said, is also one of the tools that was discussed in the book. Yes, Asavri, please. You're on mute.
Going by the quote, they get defensive because of why they think you are saying it. I think this also happens because the boundaries between a say a development feedback. So we often tend to confuse, or it's a tendency to mix the feedback for work with the person that we are and mix it with our competencies. So
Very
that could
right.
also the way we are taking it. And to be fair, we are humans, but of course, awareness is the first step. So that could also be a probable reason.
Just adding to what you said, Asavri,
Mhm.
I personally hate this line when people say, don't take it personally.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate that line. Uh, and usually when people say this line, somehow it is always personal. I don't know how it happens, but it does happen that it's always personal. So I personally I like you said, right? It's very difficult for us as humans to draw a line between what's professional and what's personal. So when people say something like this, that don't take it personally. If I've cooked a meal and it's not gone that great, and I get a feedback like, it was okay, but don't take it personally. I've spent hours on it. I will definitely take it personally. So that becomes, a pricking factor for me as well. Thank you
That
so
is,
much for, yeah, please.
can I share something else?
Yeah, sure, please.
So this also reminds me of a conversation with a senior leader. So he was sharing his experience where he said, he would get a lot of aggression and not very pleasant feedback from his seniors. And then he was discussing it with his mentor, and his mentor said, don't take it personally, because it's not you from whom they are expecting, but it's the chair that you're sitting on from where the expectation lies. So I thought,
So
yeah,
the
that was a good lens to detach the self from the
self
work.
from the, yeah, that, thank you. That's really wonderful.
I think
Thank
we
you.
get to hear everywhere this, a quotation that don't take it personally. It's the HR team we are talking about. It's the whole, department we are talking about. But we know HR team means it's only you and me who are there in the team. It means only to us. And it is,
I think, Rizwana, you and I need to connect separately, for this. Being an
yeah,
HR myself, I think we'll have a lot to share about.
exactly.
Moving on. So, there are these common pitfalls that we'll talk about. When we are having an open dialogue, there are these three very common pitfalls. You forget about the goal. The goal was probably to solve a problem. You forget about that. And you end up thinking that I need to win the argument. Somehow, humans love a debate. Uh, I don't want to be, sarcastic, or if I can use the word mean, I don't want to be mean here. But Big Boss is a very, very happening serial, whatever we want to call it, because people love drama. People love the debate that goes on. So we, by our brain, humans, we keep glitching on the fact that we need to win the argument, we need to punish or blame the other person, or these are the two violent sides, or we will go back to keeping the peace by avoiding the conflict altogether. Yes, Srividya, please.
Yeah, apart from these three, I would like to add one more point where I have been in most of the conversations where, we need to raise voice to make the other person understand what we're trying to say.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it will, most of the times the conversation goes like we are talking mutual, and sometimes the other end, whoever the person is, they overtake, and we get diverted. In order to
Mhm.
stay focused on, boss, please stop, let me talk first, you listen, and then we can continue with the further discussion. To make up that stand, sometimes violence would be necessary, I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, very true. I'd read a research that was done that when we are in an argument or when we are trying to make the other person understand, as you said, Srividya, we start speaking louder because somehow we feel that if I am talking louder, the other person will probably understand me.
True. I have done that in my childhood to make my mom understand, to listen
But
to my point. Yes, yes, very true.
but when there are two lovers and they are having a conversation,
Hmm.
they will talk to each other very softly, as softly as possible. And even then, they can hear each other very clearly with no problem at all.
Hmm.
Because we feel that our hearts are connected and hence we can hear each other. And when our hearts are not connected, we can't hear each other. And hence we start talking loudly. Thank you for the share, Srividya.
Yeah.
So, as we discussed the heart, I want to talk about the heart, which is the first step towards a crucial conversation that the authors talk about. Start with the heart. As humans, sometimes we think we are very smart. We think that, yes, I can just walk into any meeting and I will use all these big jargons and I'm going to say this and I'm going to say that. And the other person may or may not understand what my true intention is. But that's not the case. Every human has a compass in this beautiful diagram, as you can see. There's a compass inside the heart. And this compass is what tells us whether the person has the right intention or not. And especially women. Women definitely have those, that compass pointing in the right direction. The way the other person spoke, the way the other person probably, had an eye contact. I felt like something was wrong. I can't pinpoint, but I felt something was wrong. How many of us have, with a raise of hand itself, how many of us have felt this sometime, somewhere? Then, no, I did not feel that the intention was right. Yes, thanks, Ishita, Asavri, Shri Vidya, Rizwana, Pallavi. Thank you. So, women, especially, have this radar very high that, there's something wrong. That is why the author says that first start with your heart. Have the right intention when you're walking into a crucial conversation. I remember somebody mentioned that they've already made it in their mind that this is how it's going to go. This is how they're going to react. You have the right intention in your heart, and then let things flow. The next thing that the authors talk about is work on me first, us second. Again, a quote that many of us might have heard, read somewhere, that the only person you have control over is yourself. In any conversation, in any situation, you are the person that you can actually control, no one else. So if I choose to react this way, or if I choose to respond this way, it is on me. It is not on the other person. But we keep falling into the trap. We walk into any conversation and we feel the other person is the problem, and how do I make them see reason? You are the problem, not me. I know what I am doing. You please fix yourself. You can't ask the other person to fix themselves. You need to fix yourself, and don't fall into this trap. So, with this, the authors say that when you are in any conversation, ask these 4 questions. Whether you're preparing for a conversation or you're about to enter a conversation, ask these 4 questions. And they're going to change how you look at a conversation. What do I want for myself from this conversation? What do I want for myself? What do I want for the other person? What do I want from them or for them? What do I want for the relationship? Any relationship, with my manager, with my colleague, with my spouse, with my parents, any. What do I want for the relationship? And lastly, how would I behave if I wanted these results? If I wanted this for myself and I wanted this for the other person and I wanted this for our relationship, how would I behave? If you've had a conversation, I would like you to take 30 seconds and think about it. A conversation in the past. Would you have behaved the way you did if you had these questions in mind? If you had this intention, how would you have behaved? Would it change anything?
Um, so I remember I would ask these questions in my childhood whenever I'm trying to convince my parents for a trip, which I know obvious answer would be no. Um, so I will make sure that the environment is set up. I'll be nice to them, and because I want some, at the end of the day, we want the outcome to be as yes.
True.
So yeah, I was doing this.
So, Srividya has been practicing this for a long time now.
Oh, yes. So, from an environment where I grew up in a strict environment and me be only child, so they did have a fear, like letting out my only child in a metro city. It's kind of fearful back then, right?
Mhm.
So, and they always have, oh my God, she's a girl, she might not take care of herself, blah blah blah, and things like that. But unintentionally, they were doing something good by making themselves strict because I had to break everything to achieve to at what I'm right now. And for sure, they are currently they say, I'm proud of you, what you are.
Wow. So
But
nice.
yes, so I also noticed that I ask these questions when I need something to do and when I need some answers. But the opposite, when it comes to like opposite, like if the other person needs some yes from me, so none of these will strike a mind, to be frank.
Definitely recommend the book to them.
Yes.
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 Shweta, you had something to share?
Yeah, so I was agree with her as well. So initially, yes, in the initial time, we majorly make an environment where we wanted to take a approval. So I remember
Mm-hmm.
my trip in 7th class.
Mm-hmm.
I was a player of taekwondo and these, so there was some trip planned by our trainers. At that
Mm-hmm.
time, I was not aware that what actually 1200 rupees looks like, even though मेरे हिसाब से it was 100 rupees and 200 rupees. You never been into that things and all, right?
Right,
So
right.
but we were having me and my friend. So I said to my parents that she's going. She said to their parents ki I am going. Basically, we didn't get approval earlier. So we make that aura, and later on, we got the approval to go. And I was the younger in overall trip and like that. So my trainer was like, "कहाँ गई वो छोटी सी कहाँ है वो?" So my sister dropped me to the bus station, and they are considering me like a younger kid in that whole
Mm.
trip. So I do remember that. And nowadays, it's feel actually when my mom recently said to me, because we are three sisters, and I'm the
Mm-hmm.
young. And last year, my sister got married, and I did everything. I was a
Mm-hmm.
person who behaved like a brother, so you can understand. I don't have any a single picture with my sister at the wedding day. It was keeping everything in that alignment. So my mom said to me that you are the kind of a son of the family who did everything at the moment, and now they are rushing for my marriage. I said I'm not interested. So in that ways, yes, we understand that what we are looking, because it also depends like what we are looking from our parents, because not every
Mm.
time we accept what they are offering.
Mm. Right.
What we want for our parents, we also need to make them understand sometime that what
Mm.
is the best and what is not. Exactly, things need to be
Yes.
aligned. Relation, yes, matters if something done by your closest family member or the relation, how you accept that and how you can keep that with you or following the same relation matters a lot. So one of my friend earlier said to me, if you have to keep that friendship with you, you need to make one kabristan in your heart, because if you remember everything, you're not able to keep that relationship goes on. So keep that thing, because हर कोई कभी ना कभी कुछ ना कुछ करता है, ऐसा नहीं है. So if you want to run that relation, you need to keep things in your mind, and so that you can run that show. That's the only thing I can say.
Such a wise thought, Shweta. Really. By your friend. Really. A very wise thought. Yes, Rizwana.
Yeah, something in the same line, but it's on the professional friend that I had.
Mm.
So I had always opportunities from my client to visit them in US and all. But my family was very introvert, so they never having me allowed to do a night shift. Itself was a very great thing in the whole of the family initially.
Mm.
And then later on, sending me away from them was next to impossible, is what they had. So I kept feeding it in my mind, in my parents' mind, that clients are asking me, team is asking me to go there, manager is asking me to go there. I think I may have to travel and all, but there were no, there was no response. They were not saying yes and or no, but I
Mm.
knew that they were not okay with it. They were not comfortable with it. But I kept talking about it. But I knew if I have to approach my parents and get things done, I'm sure there will be lots of objections. They would say no to it, and I didn't want to hurt them as well, because there were different sentiments that they carry in. So what I did was I applied for the passport myself. I did my things myself using the service that we had in our company and all, and then got my passport done, and then slowly told them that I have got my passport. This is going to be a very good opportunity for my career. Nobody from our family has worked for so long. I have built my career, and I have more 3 to 4 years to get into and complete the goal that I always wished for, and I need your help. That's what I spoke to them openly. I wanted to get their feedback. They were hesitant, but they came along with me for the visa interview to Chennai. They were with me, they were accompanying me. But even that last day of me boarding the flight, they were still, do you really want to go? You can still cancel the trip, kind of a thing they had. So for me to, a personal friend, I knew what I wanted to do. I could convey that message. I ensured the relationship is not hampered, And end
Wow.
of the day, I got that result of, and they allowed me to stay for a year. That was another big achievement that I ever got from during my
Wow.
tenure. So it was a great turnaround for me. I got to know the value of, staying away from the family, at the same time learned a lot of things professionally. So that's something I thought I should be sharing here for others.
So nice. So empowering to hear this, Rizwana. Really. Kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Moving on. So the author talks about learning how to look. They say that it's very important to learn how to look at certain things. We either focus too much on what is being said, or we focus too much on the conditions. But the author is now presenting a concept called dual process monitoring. So they say, look at the content, the words, the fact, the data, and simultaneously look at the conditions, the body language, the micro expressions, the emotion, the tone, everything. We as humans tend to look at either of them. Either we'll focus only on what is being said, or we'll focus only on what we are feeling towards it, what we are observing. The authors say that train your brain to look at both these things together. And another important part, I think we did discuss it in the start of the session also, is the physical signs, where I think Ishita was sharing, Asavri was sharing that, the blood pressure, or, this increases, there's a lot of flow to the brain, the physical signs. As Ishita also mentioned, that she, before her parent teacher meeting, her calf would start paining. So the muscle tightening, the dry mouth, these are certain physical signs, that some things that you can see within yourselves, and some things that you can observe in the other person when you're having a conversation. How they are talking, pointing of fingers, raising of voices. We've heard all these. All the stories that have been shared, we've heard these things. And the emotions that are being felt by the other person. The sudden anger, fear, hurt that they are feeling. Look for these signs. And then the most important and uncomfortable part of this chapter that is there, learn to look, is learning to understand what kind of response do you have under stress. We can observe others. It's very easy to observe others. But even more difficult is to observe yourself. So I would invite you to think for a minute and ask yourself, when my safety breaks down, do I tend to crawl under a rock, or do I weaponize my words as rock? Which, so it's silence or violence. Think, of course, it will depend on the situation, but what do you most tend to default towards? Yes, Shweta.
So once you start this topic, I just remember one situation. So I left my last organization after 4 years. So my
Mhm.
manager was so close to me. So she's like, so I was a person who handled everything. So she have a blind faith that whatever I'm doing, so she know that I can easily represent and everything done that. Last year, I put down my papers without discussing with her because she was not available, and the peak comes up, after some situation, it comes
Mhm.
take for granted, things happen. So I just put down my papers, and a couple of days back, later, she saw my resignation and she started calling me. She was not there at the same location. So, and I was in a negotiation call with an employer, with a candidate. So we're getting a call back to back. She said, I said, I'm in a call, I will call you back. Then she scheduled a meeting in my calendar. She canceled that. She again scheduled a meeting. She canceled that. Then she accepted my resignation that I have to serve 3 months of notice period, and things done. So later I called her. I cried because that was a kind of a thing that where things will not work out or things. So she said, you can speak about it, you can talk about it. I said, wait. I tried, but nothing happened because I was not learning from last 1 year, because I feel like I'm constant. Again, that's my assumption, but obviously I see my growth as well. After that, she came, and it's the time of Holi, because the March was there. She was in office, she started ignoring me. Because as per the organization, I was a favorite member for her. Everybody thinks that I'm a kind of a ladly word was used for me. Because, but बहुत डांट पड़ती थी, ऐसा नहीं था. But later on, she started ignoring me. You don't like that thing, when I understand I put down my papers, but I don't expect that kind of behavior. So I talked to her like something is wrong or like that. So she gave me a statement that, now what do you want? You want me to hug you every day? I was like, okay. Then I take a step back. Then there was again a conversation happened. She, tried to retain me and everything, done that. So I think about it. I again came to the point, yes, I can stay. But later I understand, no, I think if I've taken a decision, I have to move. So then again, she said a word to me that she said that, when I need you, you are going. But obviously that there before. Then she said to me, if you need help in future, I need to think twice to help you. So I understand that the physical signs was emotionally she got hurt that I'm leaving, because there was a kind of a trust and the faith was there. But the behavior signs was a mix. And obviously I understand that the person can react in that way, but obviously that makes me uncomfortable, and that makes me to learn a lesson to not go too close to somebody in terms of that. Even you can understand that, when my farewell was there, she was not there. Not even a call, not even a message I got it from her after 4 years of service. And when I was there, I attended her wedding. A lot of things happened, and I shared my personal things. Like, obviously, there was a manager thing you need to share, because when you work, you need to be there as if you have a dependent. I was a person, like, for example, if she have to travel and somehow she's not able to travel, the next morning I have to go to Noida for work to the different location, I was ready to do that. But the way the reaction comes up, that is a kind of a learning lesson for me as well. That's why I have that in my mind, obviously. So once you just started, I just recall that situation in my mind.
Thanks for sharing, Shweta. Yes, Ishita, you wanted to share something.
I thought I would. This is again a lot of it a part of microaggression, which is not very encouraged in a professional setting. The best way to deal with such situations is to find a safe space, open up, show your vulnerability also, how it felt, and then ask questions, probe to an extent that the other person wants to really speak up. There are times when such people may want to raise their voice, and if it is in a professional setting, this is not okay. But then, if you really want that, during the while you were sharing this, I realized that there was some kind of personal connect as well. If you're okay with them to just vent out until it is all sorted out, that can also be done. But certainly, it's very important not to be at the receiving end all the time. It is very, very important to just share, speak up. This is what it made me feel. This is how it is landing to me. Do you want it to be the same way? For example, the statement that, do you want me to hug you every day? No, you don't hug me every day. I don't want you to hug it every day. Name it. This is what I want, and probably that will bring, if the discussion remains professional, it will bring the other person eventually to a professional level too. Try this if that works. I mean, I personally don't like people to be at the receiving end, especially in these cases when other person is doing wrong.
I totally agree with you. So yes, once that conversation happened to hug you, so obviously I asked, like, but obviously you can be normal because you're my manager. and the things work. And because that is not observed by me, that other people in the whole organization is noticing that thing, that something is happening, because people were not there
Happening.
this period. But that kind of thing give you a gesture, that gesture gives other people an kind of a thing that something happened. Even after
Mm.
1 year, I got to know some of the managers. Those were very close to me. They never talked to me after leaving the job, but suddenly we had a conversation. They said, I thought कि तुम्हें निकाला गया था. I said, okay. So I said, I served a 3 months of notice period, and after that, there was a discussion कि जुलाई तक रुक जाओगे क्या? तो there was a moment कि you can extend as well. But जब ये चीजें you heard कि निकाला गया था, yeah, sometime even people were not aware कि मैं company में नहीं हूँ. So one of my employee called me one day, and he texted me on LinkedIn. So he said, Shweta, I put down my papers. I think what happened? He said, तुम्हें तो पता होगा. I said, I don't know. So he said, HRs को तो पता होता है. मैं कहा, do one thing, go to Keka, search my name. He said, नहीं दिख रही हूँ. मैंने कहा, मुझे गए हुए 2 महीने हो गए हैं. So sometimes I laugh on the situation, but yes, sometimes it feels, because you there for a long time and all the things happen. So these, in this situation, the three of the reaction comes up. I understand that emotional thing was there, but the behavior change is also there. But
Mm.
yes, the physical sense, I feel that in that way also. I was even in my break even point, that it's very emotional decision, because being there for 4 years, doing everything, setting up a new business, running for every day. I was traveling for approximately 6 months. I stayed with my manager, even at the time of audits and everything. They cooked for me as well. Been into this journey. So obviously at the end, it actually feels make you bad, that might you
Mm.
did something wrong. I was
Thanks, Shweta. I'm very sorry to cut you, but we have
sure.
to be very respectful of the
No,
time. Sorry. Srividya, you wanted to say something?
Just I wanted to resonate with what Shweta had come across. For me, it was opposite. Like
Okay.
I came out of a team and I ignored, they were trying to reach out to me, my first team, and I ignored them because they did not keep up a promise. And
Oh,
that was like a deep hurt, which settled down in my brain, and I was not able to come out of it. And then I moved on to second team, and then there were different kinds of people. And the environment in my second team made me feel that I can loudly say, like, I'm not comfortable now with go ahead with this team and I want to move out. So I openly told them and they let me out. So there, I had to take up a different step because they were not in a position to listen to come out of the team. But here, they created a safe space so that I can talk out and they listen and they come out of my team. So
wow.
I wanted to just say, like, Shweta, it also depends on the person whom they are, perceiving,
Hmm.
what they are perceiving from their end. So happens.
Wow. Thanks, Srividya. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, moving on, a very interesting contrasting technique given by the book is the don't do. The don't do. Now, how it goes is first you address the don't. I don't want this for you, and this is what I mean by it. And then you address the do. Now, here I'll take the example of Ishita. When she had gone for the parent teacher meeting, she had gone, if I can call that parent teacher meeting, when she had gone to her daughter's school. And she was very well prepared that this is what we are going to say, and this was not right. She had so much done. And then the principal immediately says, we are extremely sorry for whatever we've done, and we take complete ownership. And the response that Ishita and her husband had in their mind immediately goes. So, what this don't do is, as soon as they are addressing the fear of the other person, As soon as you address the fear of the other person, you immediately calm them down. And then you talk about your actual intention. If I say that I have noticed that you've presented this idea and it's a nice idea, but I don't think it's going to work. Whereas if I say, I absolutely don't mean to disrespect your idea and the efforts that you have put into this entire plan that you've created, but I would like to address the fact that the organization or the company is not ready to move in this step. If I immediately talk about not liking the idea, I start thinking, okay, I am not acknowledged. I have no worth in this organization. There's no point for me to take so much effort. But when they are saying that they are not trying to disrespect my idea or my effort in any way, but the organization isn't ready. I am already in my safe space. So, this is one of the tools that the authors mention. And if you look at it, interestingly, they first focus on the don't part and then they focus on the do part. Because when somebody's house is on fire, they don't want to listen what you want to do. They are more concerned about themselves. When Ishita had gone to the principal's office, the first thing the principal had done was address her problem. And it was later about the principal. First, it was about Ishita, her daughter, and her husband. First, it was about them. And later on, it was about whatever mistake they had done, whatever had gone by, is when they present that. So, this is one of the tools called contrasting technique. Don't do. Coming to my favorite technique, master my stories, which is something that I have heard all these stories that we went through. Let's imagine a scenario. So you're at your desk and your colleague comes and sits next to you. You very enthusiastically say, "Hey, hi, good morning." And you receive a response, "Hi." So what you saw and heard, I did this and I got a response of "Hi." This is what you observed. Now, we've used this word a lot, overthinking. You start telling yourself a story. Did I do anything to upset her? Why did she react like this? Have I done something? Is there something that I did? Did I say something? And you spiral into that. And then after that spiral, you start feeling all these emotions of, let's say, anger, anxiety, stress. You start feeling these emotions. And as a result, you act in a way and you say, it's okay. You don't want to talk to me. I don't want to talk to you either. What you see and hear and how you act, we need to master our stories in between that. And here is where I would talk about Rizwana's share. Rizwana had mentioned a story where she feels she saw something, she created something by thinking certain aspects of it, and she felt something and then she did another thing to act on it. So it's very important for us to master our stories. Now, how do you master your stories? Because we humans love telling stories, absolutely love it. And there are three types of stories that we tell ourselves: the victim stories. Oh, what can I do? It was not my fault. I tried my best. The victim stories. Next, the villain stories, putting the entire blame on the other person. No, this happened because this person did not take care of the deadline. I had done my work. I was not responsible beyond that point, so it goes on there. And lastly, the helpless stories. The helpless stories we tell ourselves when we are in a fight or flight mode. What can I do? Did you see the way she was talking to me? I had no option. I have to defend myself. I need to say something. I can't just sit. So we've told ourselves the helpless story that whatever I did, whatever reaction I had, was completely justified. And I am no way to blame. Have any of us, and these can be in different perm forms. They can all occur together, they can occur in some permutation combination. But have we been telling these stories to ourselves? I see Srividya nodding.
Very often, yeah.
Very often. Thanks, Ishita. Shweta is also agreeing. Rizwana is agreeing. I'm guilty myself, completely guilty of telling myself the story that can't do anything about it.
Mostly
So
this will happen between
Mhm.
husband and wife. In my experience.
It'll happen between spouse, but it'll also happen in workplace.
True, but most often.
Actually, I've realized that in workspace we are still trying to be, as Ishita had mentioned, good girl.
Good
So we're
girl,
trying,
yes.
yeah. So we're being good girls there.
Yes,
That
yes,
okay, it's a workplace. Let me keep myself in check and everything.
yes,
But at home we are our authentic selves.
yes,
Even with our parents, it'll happen with our parents also.
yes.
Mm. I was about to say, Srividya, that this resonates with me so much when you say this happened with the spouses. Yeah, living with a man who gives me, when I ask for roses on a Valentine, who would give me a medical insurance as a gift. And I'm like, how unromantic is that? And we were newly married at that time. I questioned all possible decisions of my life. But then if I'm sick, this will be a person who will look at my face. You feel sick. And no emotions attached. You feel sick. Let me know when you need a doctor. Can I stay back home? Can I work from home tomorrow? I said, no, I can't make coffee for you. So 10 times a day, you go office, drink coffee there. Um, yeah, this usually happens because we are creating a lot of stories in our head. He did not take care of me. He did not give me what I wanted. He gave me something bigger than I ever wanted. Yeah.
Yes, Asavri.
And I think the four questions that you posed in front of us before having the
Mhm.
crucial conversation, I think we need to implement that more in our personal life.
This book, this book is really a gold mine because it does tell you how to navigate all kinds of relationships, all of them, ranging from how to talk to your child, where you feel that your child is the one who will listen to you no matter what, but that's not how it is. They will not listen to you. I think Ishita can definitely agree to that.
I want a session on this. How to make your child listen.
So, ranging from that to how to talk to your manager, all of those parts. So, how to create useful stories? You've created the story in your head that, the other person did not tell me a hi as enthusiastically as I did. That's a fact. Deconstruct that from the story that you have created. Yes, it is a fact that the person did not respond the way I would have hoped for. But post that, please ask yourself a very disarming question. That is, why would a reasonable, rational, and decent human being behave this way? Please train your brain to think like that. Once you start asking this question, that why will a decent person behave this way, you immediately start developing empathy towards the other person. It may so have been that that colleague probably had to face a flat tire while coming and was hassled by the entire thing, or had a had an argument at home, or is probably sick, and hence they are behaving or reacting the way they are. Or probably the colleague has a presentation to do and is very worried about it, or is going to have a crucial conversation themselves and is thinking about the crucial conversation. There can be so many reasons. So ask yourself this disarming question as to why would a reasonable, rational, and decent human being behave this way. When you do this, you force your mind to tell a different story than what it is accustomed to doing. Any thoughts on this? Has anyone tried this?
I have tried once in a
Mhm.
workplace, where we had to have a difficult conversation with my um, uh, immediate reportee. And yeah, I was running conversations in my head, like, to lay out such that the person feels okay and comfortable to accept what I'm saying. So immediately, as they respond, what I had planned didn't go, but as they were responding, I had to rephrase my words a lot. I mean,
Mm.
the whole sentence, changing of sentences. So that I was I was thankful to me, I mean, to myself, for being mindful on that day.
Mm.
If some word had come out in a wrong manner, it would have created a impact on that person. So yeah.
Thanks, Srividya. Thank you. So, not lastly, but we come to this state my path where we talk about it's an acronym for certain things. The first three letters, S, T, and A, talk about what to do, and the last two tell you how to do. Share your facts, tell your story, and then ask for their opinion. Talk tentatively, sorry. So when you're doing these three aspects, talk tentatively and then encourage testing. I'll give an example here. Let's say I have noticed a colleague of mine who was my reportee that she had been coming in late to work for around a week now. And I need to have this conversation that you are coming in late every day. How do I do it if I do it with this? I can share the fact that I've noticed that you have been coming in 15 to 20 minutes late each day. And then I say, I wonder if you're not feeling engaged towards the job that you're doing. And then I say, can you please share your opinion? What do you feel about it? While doing this, I am talking tentatively because I am telling them that my story is that you are not interested in it anymore. That's my story. But the other person is also creating a story in their head. Please allow them the space to share their story. Yes, Rizwana, please.
Exactly the example you have taken. I
Mhm,
had handled this just 3 months back. There was this
mhm,
girl who was very, energetic, wants to do more, excel and all. But lately, what we have noticed is exactly for 6 months, I think she has been reporting late, taking regular work from home, regular leaves, regularly, also taking extended breaks and all.
mhm,
So the line manager has tried to give the feedback, but
mhm,
again, it's just a feedback which is not officially documented, no facts shared, nothing. So later on, the management had to decide to, take a call because the productivity is not much, and we don't want to set examples in the team to have somebody like this. We need to take a disciplinary action if required. because there is no productivity at all, no inputs at all, no involvement in the projects. I think we don't need her anymore in the team, is what was the final decision that was made
Hmm.
altogether. So
Hmm.
talking to her was important. So, but how do we talk? Again, was the second question that came to us. So
Hmm.
I had to go back to her, check-in, check-out times, her log times of what she has been doing, then talk to the project manager on the work front, collect all the facts, list down, and then we had to arrange a call with her along with her line manager and the project manager and show all the facts. She saw it.
Hmm.
And the immediate thing she asked us, why is it only me that you have picked up? There are a few more people in the team who had doing the same thing. Then it was very important to use the presence of mind to say, this conversation is between you and me. As it remains confidential for you and me, it will
Hmm.
be the same case with the other individuals. We may be taking
Yeah.
action to them as well, but it matters right now to talk about you.
Hmm.
What is the issue? She has come back with multiple reasons, multiple things. But the
Hmm.
fact is, she has come into a comfort zone where she wanted to work only for 3, 4 hours and then go back home and relax. And the attitude showed up very clearly in her
Hmm.
discussion and all. And then
Hmm.
we gave her a PIP for 2 months. So, and she was showing a lesser interest because she was given that honest feedback with all the facts. And then,
Hmm.
it didn't work out well, and she chose to resign. That's where we could win, be it in a win-win situation where we
Yeah.
did show and we didn't go bad, we didn't let her feel bad that she has been asked to leave.
Hmm.
We understood that yeah, now it's time for me to move ahead and handle the things in a different way.
Hmm. Such a beautiful way to handle a crucial conversation like this, especially when you have to let somebody go. Being an HR, it's one of the most difficult conversations to have ever, is to let someone go. Yes, thanks, Rizwana. Yes, Shweta, please.
So I agree with you and Razvana. So we also do the same kind of pattern. So we
Hmm.
majorly pattern of late coming with the breaks and everything in that way. So I majorly approach that I majorly do an employee connect where I ask where I observe that you're coming late, or I found
Hmm.
breaks, everything is okay at your place, or your health is doing well.
Hmm.
Work in night shift, there's a lot of health issue work. So we ask them the same kind of question, brainstorm them. After that, I do it
Hmm.
with the location AGM, check with the performance and everything. We have offered a 1 week of 2 weeks of sabbaticals as well for the
Oh.
employee signed as well. So that
Hmm.
they can rethink about their decision if something is not working at their end. So
Hmm.
basically do these kind of activities where people can think more before, rather than putting the papers or taking a decision with the aggression
Hmm.
or disappointment. So one just a short example I can share. One of our employee was tenured for last 2 years.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, his mother was not well. So he was taking lot.
Hmm.
And then we give him a sabbatical. Then in between, his mother passed away. So
Oh.
again, couple of we can say 1 month of sabbatical by trusting that he will be come back.
Hmm.
We support them, and now he's working with the same energy and everything. He's back on floor.
Wow.
So that kind of brainstorm we do on a timely basis, rather than
This
we
is,
wait that they can come with us,
yes.
put down the papers in that way.
Hmm. That's as HRs, it becomes very important to have an open mind that the other person will also have certain things going on apart from work. Thank you so much for sharing, Shweta. Thanks a lot. So we all got these conversations, how to talk, keep the dialogue open. So many tools we recognized from this book. But after having all this done, you've done all this in a meeting. Everybody feels great about it, and they're leaving the room. They're leaving the room, but they are unsure as to what is it exactly that I am supposed to do. So here we talk about certain aspects that is about decision making. There are four types of decision making styles. The first is the command style. In certain aspects, this is one of the most efficient ways to go forward. If you are in a if there's a compliance that has to be done by the organization, we can't really have taking opinions from everybody. That's not possible. So the command style is the best way to take decisions. Next is the consult style, where you consult everybody, ask them for their opinions, and then move forward. Then is the voting style, where the other person, or rather everybody, has a vote or has a say, and the majority rules. But it needs to be well aligned, that whatever the decision may be, you need to be 100% aligned towards it. And it cannot be that because my vote was not in the majority, I do not align with this. And lastly, the consensus. When the stakes are extremely high, this is what is required. That is the consensus style of decision making. If the company or the marketing team, for example, is going to decide on a marketing campaign or a strategy to take things forward, it cannot be that three members are aligned and will be like, yes, we are wholeheartedly going to support it. And the fourth member says that, no, this is not what I wanted, and hence I'm not doing it. So consensus requires everybody to be aligned. After this, we have the pillars of execution. The meeting has gone, everybody is aligned, everything has happened. But many times we see that, thanks Pallavi, thanks for joining, thank you so much. Many times we see that even after the entire thing, people don't know who is responsible. Sometimes leaders have this habit of saying, the marketing team will do this. And the book says a very powerful line, that is, if everybody is responsible, no one is responsible. When you are giving an open-ended responsibility, you are making somehow sure that the work does not get done. So this is one of the pitfalls that most of the organizations fall into. They don't want to assign it to a single person because they feel uncomfortable with it. Because they feel if they call somebody out, it is targeting them in a manner. It may be a short-term problem, but if you address this, it will help you solve a bigger problem. So who is the person who's going to take ownership? And what do they need to do exactly? Be very specific on what your goals are. Last, by when do you want it? Do not give vague deadlines like by next week, by the end of the quarter. That does not help. Give a very specific deadline. I would like to see this report by the end of the month. So the last working day is by when I want the report. So a very specific date. And if it's a long-term goal, please make sure that there are some follow-ups in between so that if there is certain checks that need to be done, you can have meetings set up. Okay, we are going to do this. How do you want me to track it? Are we going to do it on the project management tool? Or are we setting up, bi-weekly meetings? How are we going to achieve this? So with this, we come to the conclusion of it. We spoke about different things. I would like to close with this quote from the book. The health of an organization or any relationship is measured by the lag time between identifying a problem and discussing it. Any thoughts, anyone? What would be your one takeaway from today's session, from all these tools? Thank you, Rizwana. Thank you so much. From all these tools that we had.
It's a
Yes,
very
Rizwana.
positive, the session that I think all of us we have lots of takeaways that we have, thinking, ensuring, thinking on different aspects before even taking any decisions or interacting with anybody. So it has been really very helpful session for us and the interaction with you, where we have not only heard you, others as well, their learnings as
Yeah.
well has helped us a lot. I'm sure it will help us a lot in identifying what the problems are and how are we going to tackle it. Also, I think it's going to change our approach going forward a bit.
Thank you so much, Rizwana. Thanks a lot. Yes, Asabri, please.
I think for me, the biggest takeaway has been those four questions. And
Mhm.
we can already see those questions solving both for silence and violence, and somewhere coming in between to voicing. So
Yes.
that has been a takeaway for me. Thank you. It was a lovely session.
Thank you so much. And
Okay.
lastly, I would request all of you to please give me feedback on how the session was. This was my first time hosting it, and I absolutely loved every bit of it. Thank you so much for all the share. It was so empowering to hear all your stories. Rizwana, Shweta, Ishita, Savri, Sri Vidya, Rachel, and Pallavi left at the moment. So please, I would request you to take a moment and please do give me feedback. It will help me and all of us at GWS to understand more about what we can do to make things better. Thank you so much. It was lovely hosting and meeting all of you. Thank you, Rizwana.
You, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Srividya.
everyone.
Thank you, Shweta.